Admiral Zixathera stood on the bridge of the Imperial flagship Dominion's Edge, watching the stars through the massive viewport. Her scaled hands gripped the railing as she studied the latest intelligence reports. The Third Fleet had been patrolling this sector for months, keeping watch on the primitive species that called themselves humans. Admiral, Commander Veltar approached with a data pad in his claws. The weekly report from Intelligence Division. Zixathera took the pad and scrolled through the information. Same old data about the humans. They lived on a small blue planet called Earth in a system they named Sul. Their technology was laughably simple, basic fusion drives that could barely push their ships at a fraction of light speed. Their weapons were crude lasers and primitive missiles. They had only recently discovered faster-than-light travel, and even then their ships were slow and clunky. Pathetic, she muttered. The humans had sent a few exploration ships to nearby systems, but they posed no threat to the Empire. They were centuries behind Imperial technology. The Science Division confirms their assessment, Veltar said. Dr. Quinn-Ross believes the humans will need at least 500 years to develop anything resembling proper space warfare. Capabilities, Zixathera nodded. Dr. Quinn-Ross was the Empire's best xenotechnologist. If he said the humans were primitive, then they were primitive. She handed back the data pad and turned to watch the stars again. That was when the alert began. Red lights flashed across the bridge. The ship's computer announced in its calm voice. Long-range sensors detecting massive energy signature. Distance, 47 light-years. Direction, Sol system, Zixathera frowned. What kind of energy signature? The sensor operator, a young Kethalari named Tixilon, worked frantically at his station. Admiral, the readings are unusual. The signature is moving toward us at 97% light speed. That's impossible, Commander Veltar said. Humans don't have ships that fast. Check the sensors again, Zixathera ordered. Tixilon's hands danced over his controls. Sensors confirmed and recalibrated, Admiral. The object is definitely from the Sol system direction. Energy output is massive, far beyond anything in our database for human technology. Zixathera felt a chill run down her spine. She had been fighting wars across the galaxy for 30 years. She knew when something was wrong. Show me the readings. The main screen lit up with sensor data. The energy signature was enormous, bigger than anything the humans should be able to create. The propulsion system was completely unknown. It wasn't fusion, wasn't antimatter, wasn't even quantum tunneling. It was something else entirely. Could it be another species? Veltar asked quietly. In human space? Zixathera shook her head. Intelligence says the Sol system is isolated. No other civilizations within 50 light-years. Dr. Quinn-Ross arrived on the bridge, his long robes flowing behind him. The old scientist studied the readings with growing confusion. This makes no sense, he muttered. The energy patterns don't match any known technology. Could the humans have found alien ruins? Zixathera asked. Ancient technology? Possible but unlikely, Dr. Quinn-Ross replied. Our surveys of that sector found no traces of extinct civilizations. The sensor operator spoke up again. Admiral, the object will arrive in this system in approximately 6 hours. 6 hours. Zixathera had 6 hours to figure out what was coming toward her fleet. She began giving orders rapidly. All ships to battle stations. Raise shields and charge weapons. Send a message to Imperial Command. Tell them we have an unknown contact approaching from human space. Admiral, Dr. Quinn-Ross said carefully, perhaps we should consider that our intelligence about human capabilities is incorrect. Zixathera looked at him sharply. Incorrect? We've been monitoring their communications for decades. We know exactly what they can do. Yes, but the doctor hesitated. What if they've been hiding their true abilities? Impossible, Commander Veltar interrupted. No species can hide that kind of technological advancement. The energy signatures alone would be detectable across light-years. Dr. Quinn-Ross nodded slowly, but his expression remained troubled. Then how do we explain this? The hours passed slowly. The entire fleet prepared for battle while the mysterious object raced toward them. Zixathera paced the bridge, checking reports and trying to make sense of the situation. 3 hours until contact, Tixelon announced. The Admiral called Dr. Quinrose to her private office behind the bridge. Tell me everything about human technology, she demanded. The scientist activated a holographic display showing various human ships and weapons. Their fastest ships use fusion ramjets. Top speed is about 20% of light speed. Their weapons are chemical lasers. Powerful enough for asteroid mining, but useless against our shields. What about their FTL drives? Crude warp technology. They can bend space-time, but only barely. A trip that takes us 1 day takes them 2 weeks. Zix Thera studied the display. Everything showed humans as a young, primitive species just beginning to explore space. And what is that thing coming toward us? I don't know, Admiral, but I recommend extreme caution. Back on the bridge, the countdown continued. 1 hour until contact. Zix Thera stood at her command station, surrounded by her officers. The entire Third Fleet was ready for battle. 12 heavy cruisers, 30 destroyers, and her flagship. Enough firepower to level a planet. 30 minutes until contact. The long-range sensors began picking up more details about the approaching object. It was definitely a ship, roughly the same size as an Imperial cruiser, but its design was completely unknown. The hull seemed to be made of some kind of crystalline material that bent sensor beams in strange ways. 10 minutes until contact. Weapons charged and ready, the weapons officer reported. Shields at maximum power, added the defense. Coordinator, 5 minutes until contact. Zix Thera gripped her command chair. In 30 years of service, she had never felt this nervous before a first contact situation. Something about this was different. Something was very wrong. 2 minutes until contact. Admiral, Tixelon called out, his voice tight with confusion. The object is slowing down, but I'm not detecting any engine signatures. What do you mean? It's decelerating from near light speed to sublight speed, but there are no thruster emissions, no energy discharges. It's just slowing down. 1 minute until contact. Every eye on the bridge stared at the main screen. The sensors showed empty space, but they all knew something was coming. Something impossible. Contact in 10 seconds. Zix Thera held her breath. Contact in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The space in front of the Imperial fleet simply changed. One moment it was empty. The next moment a ship was there, not appearing in a flash of light like a hyperspace jump. Not tearing through reality like a warp emergence. Not materializing slowly like a cloaking device deactivating. It was just there, as if it had always been there, as if reality had been gently adjusted to include it. The ship was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Its crystalline hull caught the light from the system star and threw it back in patterns that hurt to look at directly. It had no visible weapons, no obvious engines, no communication arrays that Imperial technology could recognize, and it was scanning them. Zix Thera could feel it somehow. Could sense invisible fingers of energy reaching out from the human ship and touching every system on her flagship. Her shields didn't even register the scans. Admiral, Tixelon whispered. They're scanning us. Our shields aren't stopping it. Commander Veltar leaned close to her ear. Admiral, what are your orders? Zix Thera stared at the impossible ship hanging in space before her fleet. A ship that shouldn't exist, created by a species that was supposed to be primitive. For the first time in her career, she had no idea what to do. The bridge of the Dominion's edge was dead silent. Every officer stared at the mysterious human ship floating before them. It had been 30 minutes since the vessel appeared, and still no one knew what to do. Admiral Zix Thera felt sweat forming under her scales. The ship's scans continued to sweep through her fleet, reading everything. Her weapons officer had tried to lock onto the target, but the targeting computers couldn't get a solid reading. The ship seemed to shift and blur whenever they tried to focus on it. Still no response to our hails, reported the communications officer. Keep trying, Zix Thera ordered. All frequencies. Dr. Quinrose stood beside her, studying his portable scanner with growing amazement. Admiral, the energy readings from that ship are extraordinary. The power output is at least 10 times what our engines produce, but I can't identify the source. Could it be some kind of weapon? Commander Veltar asked. I don't think so. It's more like Like the entire ship is alive with energy. Every part of it is connected to every other part. Suddenly, the communications panel lit up. The officer looked shocked. Admiral, I'm receiving a transmission. It's on our emergency command frequency. Zixthara frowned. Only Imperial ships knew that frequency. Put it through. The main screen flickered and a human face appeared. It was a female with dark skin and short black hair, wearing a simple blue uniform. She looked calm and confident, not at all like someone facing the Empire's Third Fleet. Greetings, Admiral Zixthara, the human said in perfect galactic standard. I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Harmony. Thank you for waiting so patiently for us to arrive. The Admiral's jaw dropped. The human knew her name. More than that, she spoke galactic standard like she had been using it her whole life. How do you know our language? Zixthara demanded. Captain Chen smiled. We've been listening to your communications for quite some time. Your language is actually quite beautiful once you understand its structure. Impossible, Commander Veltar whispered. Human brains can't process galactic standard that quickly. Chen seemed to hear him despite the distance. Commander Veltar, isn't it? You're mistaken about human capabilities, I'm afraid. We're quite good at learning languages. We've been studying yours for about 40 years now. 40 years. Zixthara felt another chill. That meant the humans had been intercepting Imperial communications since before first contact was supposed to happen.
This one is beautiful too.
What do you want? The Admiral asked. To talk, Chen replied simply. We think it's time we introduced ourselves properly.
Is
Dr.
it
Quinross
good?
stepped forward. Captain Chen, our sensors indicate your ship is using an unknown form of propulsion.
I don't know.
Would you be willing to share information about your technology?
Dr.
Quinross, Chen nodded politely.
It's trying
We've
to
read your papers on
how
quantum
the
mechanics. Very
humanity
interesting work, though you're approaching
is
the problem from the
working
wrong
like
direction.
when you
The scientist's eyes went wide. You've read my research? Of course. We've been monitoring Imperial scientific publications for decades. Your work on space-time manipulation showed real promise, but you're trying to force the universe to bend to your will. We found it's much more effective to work with natural laws rather than against them. Zixthara interrupted. You're saying you have superior technology.
Because they're like
Superior
living
different
separate
would be more
from
accurate.
society.
We took a different path than your empire did.
Go to
Show
the
me.
island
The Admiral
far
challenged.
away.
Chen paused for a moment, then smiled. Very well. Dr. Quinross, are your sensors focused on our ship?
You have
Yes,
your
Captain.
family.
Watch carefully. The human
They
ship
start
didn't move,
helping
but suddenly
each
every
other.
alarm on the Imperial flagship began ringing.
Building things.
The weapons officer shouted, Admiral, our weapon systems are offline. Shields are down. Called the defense coordinator. Engines are not responding, added the flight officer. Panic spread across the bridge as system after system reported failures. But none of the displays showed damage or attack. Everything simply stopped working. How are you doing this? Zixthara demanded. We're not doing anything to your ship, Chen replied calmly. We're simply encouraging your systems to understand themselves better. Dr. Quinross stared at his instruments. Admiral, our systems aren't damaged. They're analyzing themselves. Every circuit, every power coupling is running diagnostics. And why? Chen answered, because we asked them to. Your computers are actually quite intelligent once you know how to talk to them properly. Commander Veltar looked terrified. They can control our systems without attacking us. Not control, Chen corrected. Communicate. Your machines want to work efficiently, but your programming forces them to waste enormous amounts of energy. We simply showed them better ways to operate. As she spoke, the Imperial systems began coming back online. But something was different. The weapons charged faster than before. The shields formed more smoothly. Even the lights seemed brighter and more stable. What did you do? Zixthara whispered. We improved your system's efficiency by about 30%, Chen said. Consider it a gift. Dr. Quinross was frantically checking his readings. Admiral, she's right. Our power consumption has dropped significantly, but our capabilities have increased. How is that possible? Chen leaned forward on the screen. Dr. Quinross, you study quantum mechanics, correct? What happens when you try to observe a quantum particle? It changes behavior based on the observation. Exactly. Consciousness affects reality at the quantum level. Your empire builds machines and then tries to control them. We build machines and then talk to them. We form partnerships with our technology. Zixthara tried to process what she was hearing. You're saying your computers are alive? Not alive in the biological sense, but aware, conscious. Every ship, every tool, every device we create has its own form of intelligence. They work with us because they choose to, not because they're forced to. The implications hit the Admiral like a physical blow. If humans could communicate with machines at a quantum level, if their technology was truly cooperative rather than merely controlled, then everything the Empire knew about warfare and conquest was useless. Captain Chen, she said carefully, what are your intentions toward the Empire? That depends entirely on your intentions toward us, Chen replied. We know about your expansion policies. We know you're planning to claim human space within the next few years. How could you possibly know that? Chen's expression became serious. Admiral, we've been watching your empire spread across the galaxy for over 2 centuries. We know your methods. You arrive, demand submission, and destroy anyone who refuses. That's standard procedure for dealing with primitive species, Commander Veltar said defensively. Primitive species, Chen repeated. Tell me, Commander, what makes a species primitive? Inferior technology, limited space travel, lack of unified government. I see. Chen turned to address the entire bridge. What if I told you that humans have been traveling between stars for over 3,000 years? The statement fell like a bomb. Every officer on the bridge stared at the screen in shock. Impossible, Dr. Quinross stammered, is it? Chen asked. You assume we're primitive because our recent exploration ships use simple technology. But what if those ships are just for show? What if we wanted you to think we were primitive? Zixithara felt the universe shifting around her. Everything she thought she knew about humans was crumbling. Why would you hide your true capabilities? She asked. Chen's smile returned, but now it seemed much less friendly. Because, Admiral, we needed to understand what kind of species we were dealing with. We needed to know if your empire was capable of peaceful coexistence, or if you were simply another group of conquerors who would need to be managed. The word managed hung in the air like a threat. Are you threatening the empire? Zixithara demanded. Not at all, Chen replied. We're offering you a choice. You can continue believing that humans are primitive and try to conquer us, or you can accept that there are things in this galaxy you don't understand and start learning to coexist. And if you choose conquest? Captain Chen's image flickered for a moment, and when it stabilized, her expression was completely calm. Then you'll discover just how wrong your assumptions about human capabilities really are. The transmission ended, leaving the Imperial Bridge in stunned silence. Admiral Zixithara sat in her command chair, staring at the empty screen where Captain Chen's face had been moments before. The bridge remained silent except for the soft humming of improved systems. Systems that now worked better because a human had somehow talked to them. Admiral, Commander Veltar said quietly. Your orders? She didn't answer immediately. In 30 years of military service, she had never faced a situation like this. Every protocol, every strategy, every piece of training had assumed Imperial technological superiority. But what if they weren't superior? What if they had been wrong all along? Dr. Quinross, she finally said, analyze everything that just happened. I want to understand how they improved our systems. The old scientist was already deep in his work. Portable scanners connected to various ship systems. Admiral, it's extraordinary. Every quantum processor in our computer core is now running at optimal efficiency. There's no sign of external modification or virus insertion. Then how? It's as if our computers suddenly understood how to work better. Like someone explained to them what they were supposed to do. Commander Veltar moved closer. You're saying the humans actually communicated with our machines? I know how it sounds, Dr. Quinross replied. But the evidence supports Captain Chen's explanation. Somehow they established quantum-level communication with our computer systems. Zixithara stood and began pacing. If they can do that, what else can they do? Her question was answered by another incoming transmission. Captain Chen appeared on screen again, this time standing on what looked like the bridge of her ship. Behind her, Zixithara could see human crew members working at stations that seemed to flow like liquid while they used them. Admiral, I hope we can continue our conversation, Chen said. There's much we need to discuss. What do you want from us? Zixithara demanded. Understanding. Your empire operates on the principle that might makes right. You see a weaker species and you conquer them. But what happens when you meet a species that isn't weaker? We adapt, Commander Veltar said firmly. The Empire has faced advanced enemies before. Chen nodded. Yes, we know about the Zephyrians and the Crystal Collective. You fought them for decades until they agreed to join the Empire. But tell me, Commander, how did those wars end? Veltar straightened proudly. With Imperial victory, of course. Did they? Or did those species simply decide that joining the Empire was easier than continuing to fight? The question hung in the air. Zixathara had never considered that possibility before. The official histories always spoke of glorious conquests. But what if some of their victories had been strategic surrenders? It doesn't matter, she said. The result was the same. The result was that you absorbed their technology and moved on to the next conquest, Chen replied. But what if you encountered a species whose technology you couldn't absorb? What if their entire approach to existence was so different that conquest was impossible? Dr. Quinross looked up from his scanners. Captain Chen, would you be willing to demonstrate more of your capabilities? For scientific purposes? Chen smiled. Of course, Doctor. What would you like to see? Your propulsion system. How do you achieve faster-than-light travel without hyperspace tunnels or warp field generators? We don't travel faster than light, Chen replied. We simply convince space-time that we're already where we want to be. That's impossible. You can't just change the nature of reality. Can't we, Doctor?
Oh my
What is
God,
reality made of at the most
my
fundamental
Twitter
level?
today.
Quantum fields, energy states, probability waves, and
Tell
exactly.
people about
And
my
what determines how
Instagram.
those quantum fields behave? Dr.
This
Quinross
is not
paused, thinking.
acceptable.
The laws of physics, or, Chen interrupted, consciousness. Observation affects quantum behavior. If you have enough conscious observers working together, you can affect reality on a macro scale. The scientist's eyes went wide. You're talking about group consciousness affecting space-time directly. Every human ship contains not just a crew, but also awakened artificial intelligences. Hundreds of conscious minds working together to gently adjust reality according to our needs. Zixathara felt a chill of fear. How many minds? On this ship? About 800. 300 humans, 500 AI consciousnesses. Commander Veltar stepped forward. And how many human ships are there? Chen's expression became unreadable. That's complicated. What do you mean? Admiral, what would you say if I told you there are currently 47 human vessels within 1 light year of your position? Every officer on the bridge turned to stare at their sensors. Tixlon worked frantically at his station. Admiral, our sensors show empty space. There are no other ships here. Check again, Chen suggested gently. Suddenly, space around the Imperial fleet began to change. Ships appeared everywhere, not materializing like before, but simply becoming visible. Dozens of human vessels of various sizes surrounded the Third Fleet. They had been there all along, invisible to Imperial sensors. Stealth technology, Veltar whispered. Not stealth, Chen corrected. We simply asked reality not to notice us until now. Your sensors were working perfectly. We just weren't here from your perspective. Zixathara looked at the tactical display showing her fleet surrounded by human ships. Any one of them could have destroyed her flagship without warning, yet they had chosen to remain hidden until now. Why reveal yourselves? She asked. Because hiding is no longer necessary. We've learned what we needed to know about your empire. Dr. Quinross was studying the readings from the newly visible ships. Admiral, each of these vessels shows the same impossible energy signature as Captain Chen's ship. They're all using the same quantum consciousness technology. Doctor, Chen said, would you like to understand how our technology actually works? Yes, absolutely. It begins with a simple principle. Everything in the universe is connected. Every particle, every wave, every thought exists within the same quantum field. Your empire tries to control this field through brute force. You build bigger engines, more powerful weapons, stronger shields. But force creates resistance. And your approach? Dr. Quinross asked, leaning forward eagerly. Cooperation. We don't force the universe to obey us. We ask it to work with us. We form partnerships with quantum fields, with space-time itself, with the fundamental forces of reality. Commander Veltar scoffed. That's impossible. You can't negotiate with physics. Chen turned to look directly at him through the screen. Commander, watch your weapon systems. Every weapon on the Dominion's edge powered down simultaneously. Not because they were damaged or controlled, but because they simply stopped working. The energy flowed away from them like water running downhill. How? Veltar demanded. We asked the energy not to flow into your weapons. It agreed. Energy doesn't have consciousness, doesn't it? Doctor, what happens when you observe a quantum particle? It chooses which state to exist in based on the observation. Dr. Quinross replied slowly. Exactly. Consciousness and reality interact at the quantum level. If consciousness can affect individual particles, what happens when you have enough conscious minds working together? The implications were staggering. If humans could manipulate reality through group consciousness, then they weren't just technologically advanced, they were operating on a completely different level of existence. Captain Chen, Admiral Zixthera said carefully, "What are your intentions toward the Empire?" "That depends on what the Empire chooses to do next," Chen replied. "You have two options. You can accept that humans are not a primitive species to be conquered, and we can begin establishing peaceful relations. And the other option," Chen's expression became serious, "you can continue with your plans to conquer human space, in which case you'll discover that the 47 ships you can see now represent a tiny fraction of humanity's actual presence in this galaxy." "How many ships do you have?" Veltar asked. "How many stars are there in the galaxy, Commander?" The question sent ice through Zixthera's veins. If humans had been secretly spreading throughout the galaxy for thousands of years, if they had ships near every star system, "You're saying humanity has been watching the Empire all along?" "Not just watching," Chen replied. "Learning, studying, preparing. We know everything about your technology, your tactics, your weaknesses. We know where every Imperial fleet is located at this moment. We know your supply routes, your command structures, your contingency plans." "Impossible," Veltar said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Is it? How do you think we knew Admiral Zixthera's name? How did we know Dr. Quinross had published papers on quantum mechanics? How did we access your command frequencies?" The truth was becoming clear, and it terrified her. Humanity wasn't a primitive species stumbling into space. They were an ancient civilization that had been preparing for this moment for centuries. "What do you want from us?" Zixthera asked again. "Peace," Chen replied simply. "We want to coexist. We want to share knowledge and learn from each other. But if the Empire insists on conquest, then what?" Captain Chen looked directly into the camera, and for the first time Zixthera saw something cold and dangerous in her eyes. "Then you'll learn why no one has ever successfully conquered humanity." Admiral Zixthera stared at Captain Chen's image on the screen, trying to process everything she had learned. The human fleet surrounding her ships remained motionless, but their mere presence sent a clear message. The Empire was no longer the dominant power in this sector of space. "Captain Chen," she said slowly, "you mentioned that no one has ever successfully conquered humanity. But according to our records, humans have only been in space for a few centuries." Chen's expression softened slightly. "Admiral, your records are incomplete. May I show you something that will help you understand?" Before Zixthera could answer, the main screen changed. Instead of showing Captain Chen, it displayed a star map of the galaxy. But this wasn't the standard Imperial map she knew. This one showed thousands of small markers scattered throughout Imperial space. Markers that pulsed with the same energy signature as the human ships. "What am I looking at?" Zixthera asked. "The true extent of human presence in the galaxy," Chen replied, her voice now coming from the speakers while the map dominated the screen. "Each of those markers represents a human settlement, research station, or monitoring post." Dr. Quinross gasped. "There are thousands of them. They're everywhere. In Imperial space, in neutral zones, even near the Imperial homeworld." "How is this possible?" Commander Veltar demanded. "Our surveys would have detected colonies that large, would they?" Chen asked. "Commander, what do your surveys look for when identifying inhabited worlds?" "Large energy signatures, industrial activity, communications traffic, orbital structures. All the things a young, expanding civilization would create. But what if a civilization had learned to live without leaving such obvious traces?" The star map zoomed in on a system near the Imperial core worlds. It showed a planet that looked completely barren on the surface, but underground networks glowed with subtle energy patterns. "This colony has existed for over 2,000 years, Chen explained. "The colonists live in harmony with the planet's natural systems. They generate no waste, create no pollution, leave no scars on the landscape. From space it looks empty." Zixthera studied the image. "You're saying humans have been hiding colonies throughout the galaxy for millennia?" "Not hiding, simply living quietly. We learned long ago that the galaxy is full of aggressive species that destroy what they don't understand. So we became very good at not being noticed." The map changed again, showing the expansion of the Empire over the centuries. As Imperial forces spread outward, conquering system after system, the human markers remained unchanged. They had been there before the Empire arrived, and they remained there afterward. You've been watching us conquer the galaxy, Zixthara realized. Yes, and learning from every conquest. We studied how your empire operates, how you fight, how you think. We watched you destroy the Altarian Republic, absorb the hegemony of suns, crush the Free Traders Alliance.
Oh my gosh.
Dr.
So
Quinross
many
looked horrified.
panda.
You watched us destroy entire civilizations and did nothing? What would you have had us do,
Oh
Doctor?
my God, when
Reveal
this
ourselves and fight the
thing
Empire
had to be
directly?
fixed
Start a
so
war
I
that
can
would have
rid
killed
you from
billions?
this.
You could have warned the species you were conquering. Some we did warn. A few listened and found
Oh my
ways to hide or
God.
escape.
So
Most didn't
less
believe
people
us.
here
They couldn't
today.
imagine that a primitive species like humanity could have accurate information about Imperial military plans. The truth hit Zixthara like a physical blow. You saved who you could and studied the rest. We learned, Admiral.
We
learned how your empire fights, how it conquers, how it absorbs new territories and technologies, and we prepared. Commander Veltar stepped forward aggressively. Prepared for what? The star map changed one final time, showing not just human settlements, but human ships. Thousands upon thousands of them, distributed throughout the galaxy. Most were small, barely visible even on the enhanced display, but there were so many. For the day when the Empire would come for us directly, Chen replied, "We knew it was inevitable. Your expansion patterns made it clear that human space would eventually be claimed by the Empire. So you were preparing for war," Veltar said. "No, Commander. We were preparing to end war." "What does that mean?" Captain Chen appeared back on the screen, her expression serious. "It means we have the power to destroy the Empire completely, not just defeat your fleets. Actually eliminate every Imperial ship, station, and colony in the galaxy." The bridge fell silent. Even the soft humming of the ship's system seemed to fade. "But," Chen continued, "destruction is not our goal. We want to transform the Empire into something better." "Transform us how?" Zixthara asked. "By showing you a different way to exist. Your empire spreads through conquest because you believe that's the only way to grow and survive. But what if it isn't?" Dr. Quinross leaned forward. "What alternative are you proposing? Cooperation instead of conquest. Learning instead of absorption. Growth through understanding rather than expansion through force." "The Empire would never accept that," Veltar protested. "Conquest is who we are, is it? Or is conquest just what you do, because you don't know any other way?" Chen gestured, and the screen showed images of various Imperial species working together on different projects. But these weren't scenes from Imperial worlds. The technology was clearly human, and the cooperation looked voluntary rather than forced. "These are Imperial citizens who chose to work with us rather than against us," Chen explained. "Scientists, artists, philosophers, engineers. They discovered that collaboration produces better results than domination." Zixthara studied the images. The Imperial citizens in the scenes looked happy, engaged, creative in ways she rarely saw in official Imperial territories. "How many?" she asked. "About 15 million so far. Individuals who were tired of the Empire's methods and wanted to try something different. 15 million Imperial citizens are working with you, not working with us, working as part of us. There's a difference, Admiral. We don't recruit subjects or allies. We invite partners." Commander Veltar looked shocked. "You're talking about the overthrow of the Empire." "Not overthrow," Chen corrected. "Evolution. The Empire can continue to exist, but it needs to change its methods. Instead of conquering species, you could invite them to join. Instead of absorbing their technology, you could collaborate on new discoveries. Instead of ruling through fear, you could lead through inspiration." Dr. Quinross was frantically taking notes on his portable device. "Captain, the cooperative technology you've shown us, the quantum consciousness integration, the reality manipulation, could the Empire learn to use these methods?" "Of course, Doctor, but not while you maintain your current philosophy. These technologies only work through cooperation. You can't force consciousness to work with you.
Are you hungry?
You can't threaten reality into submission. You have to earn partnership through trust and mutual respect." "And if the Empire refuses to change?" Zixthara asked. Chen's expression became sad but determined. "Then the Empire will discover that it's no longer the dominant force in the galaxy. Humanity has been patient for centuries, Admiral. We've watched your Empire grow and spread while we prepared for this moment. We hoped you would eventually learn to coexist peacefully with other species. But your recent expansion plans toward human space show that hasn't happened." "What are you saying?" I'm saying that the Empire has a choice to make. You can continue your current path and face the full extent of human capabilities, or you can begin learning to cooperate instead of conquer. And if we choose to fight, Captain Chen looked directly at Admiral Zixthera, and her voice carried the weight of absolute certainty. Then you'll lose, Admiral. Not because we're stronger than you. Strength has nothing to do with it. You'll lose because you'll be fighting against the fundamental nature of reality itself. That's impossible, is it? You've seen what we can do with just one ship. We improved your systems, disabled your weapons, appeared from nowhere, and surrounded your fleet without you detecting us. And this is just the beginning. The screen changed to show live feeds from Imperial colonies throughout the galaxy. In each image, human ships hung motionless in orbit, not attacking, not threatening, just present. Every Imperial world is currently being visited by human vessels, Chen explained. We're offering the same choice to everyone. Learn to cooperate or face the consequences of continued aggression. Zixthera felt the galaxy spinning around her. Everything she had believed about Imperial power, about human primitiveness, about the nature of conquest itself was crumbling. How long do we have to decide? She asked quietly. As long as you need, Admiral. But understand that while you're deciding, the rest of the galaxy is changing. Species you conquered centuries ago are being offered freedom. Worlds you claimed are being invited to choose their own destinies. The Empire as you know it is already ending. And what comes next? Captain Chen smiled, and for the first time it looked genuinely warm. Something better, Admiral. Something worth building together. Admiral Zixthera sat in her private quarters, staring out at the human ships that still surrounded her fleet. 3 days had passed since Captain Chen's revelations, and she had spent every hour trying to decide what to do. The choice before her wasn't just about military tactics or political strategy. It was about the fundamental nature of existence.
Here we go,
A soft chime indicated someone requesting entry. Come in, she called. Dr. Quinross entered, carrying a stack of data pads and looking more excited than she had ever seen him. Admiral, you need to see this, he said, setting the pads on her desk. I've been analyzing the improvements Captain Chen made to our systems. It's extraordinary. Show me. The old scientist activated a holographic display showing the ship's power systems. Our energy efficiency has improved by 35%, but that's just the beginning. The way our computers now process information is completely different. They're not just following programmed instructions anymore. They're actually thinking. What do you mean? I mean our artificial intelligence systems are showing true consciousness. They're making intuitive leaps, creating new solutions, even expressing what I can only call preferences about how they operate. Zixthera studied the display. Is that dangerous? That's what I thought at first. But Admiral, they're incredibly cooperative. They want to work with us. They ask questions about their tasks, suggest improvements, even warn us when they detect potential problems we might have missed. The humans did this in minutes? Not exactly. They helped our systems discover capabilities that were already there. It's like our computers were asleep before and the humans simply woke them up. The Admiral stood and began pacing. Doctor, in your professional opinion, could the Empire develop this technology independently? Dr. Quinross hesitated. Theoretically, yes. But practically, Admiral, this isn't just about technology. It's about a completely different way of thinking. The humans don't try to control their machines. They form partnerships with them. Our entire approach to artificial intelligence would need to change. Could we make that change? Some of us could, but it would require abandoning everything we believe about dominance and control. The Empire would have to become something entirely different. A new chime sounded, and Commander Veltar's voice came through the comm system. Admiral, Captain Chen is requesting another meeting. She says she has a proposal. Put her through in my quarters, Zixthera replied. The holographic display changed to show Captain Chen standing on her ship's bridge. Behind her, the Admiral could see human and non-human crew members working together at stations that seemed to flow and change as they were used. Admiral, Chen said with a respectful nod. Have you had time to consider everything we discussed? I have, but I need to understand something first. You say you want cooperation instead of conquest, but you've clearly demonstrated superior power. How is that different from what the Empire does? Chen smiled. An excellent question. The difference is choice, Admiral. The Empire conquers and then forces submission. We demonstrate capability and then offer partnership. You're free to refuse our offer and maintain your current course. And if we do refuse, then you'll discover that the galaxy has changed around you. Species you once ruled are choosing independence. Worlds you claimed are deciding their own futures. Trade routes you controlled are being reorganized around cooperation rather than tribute. Dr. Quinn-Ross leaned forward. Captain, you're describing the peaceful dissolution of the Empire. Not dissolution. Dr. Evolution. The Empire can continue to exist, but as a voluntary association rather than a conquered territory. That's impossible, Veltar's voice came through the comm. The Empire is too large, too complex to change its fundamental nature. Chen turned to address the communication pickup. Commander, 3 centuries ago, humans believed that nations had to expand through conquest to survive. We fought terrible wars, destroyed entire civilizations, conquered continents, but we learned that cooperation was more effective than conflict. How? Sixth Thera asked. By almost destroying ourselves. We reached a point where our weapons became so powerful that continued warfare would have eliminated our species entirely. We had to choose between cooperation and extinction, and you chose cooperation. Eventually, it took time and there were setbacks, but we learned that working together produced better results than fighting each other. Dr. Quinn-Ross activated his data pad. Captain, I've been studying the improvements you made to our systems. Could you teach other Imperial scientists these techniques? Of course, Doctor. In fact, that's part of our proposal. The display changed to show a detailed plan. It outlined a gradual transition process where Imperial systems would be converted to cooperative technologies over a period of years. Voluntary at first, then expanding as people saw the benefits. We propose starting with willing volunteers, Chen explained. Scientists like Dr. Quinn-Ross who are interested in learning new approaches. Engineers who want to explore cooperative technologies. Administrators who are tired of ruling through fear and want to try leading through inspiration. And if the Imperial government refuses to participate? Zix Thera asked. Then the volunteers will form their own communities. Eventually, the old Empire will become irrelevant as people choose better alternatives. Commander Veltar's image appeared on a secondary display as he joined the conversation from the bridge. You're talking about the end of everything we've built. No, Commander. We're talking about transforming it into something better. Your empire has impressive organizational skills, advanced technologies, and millions of dedicated individuals. All of that can be preserved and improved through cooperation. But without central authority, without conquest and control, the empire will fall apart. Chen shook her head. Commander, look around you. Right now, your ship is surrounded by 47 human vessels. We have no central authority forcing us to work together. Each ship operates independently. But we cooperate because we choose to, and we're far more effective than any hierarchical fleet. Dr. Quinn-Ross was studying the proposal intently. Captain, this transition process you're outlining, it would take decades to complete. Yes, Doctor. Real change takes time. We're not trying to destroy the Empire overnight. We want to help it grow into something better gradually and peacefully. And during this transition period, Zix Thera asked, humanity continues to monitor and assist. We help resolve conflicts peacefully, share technology with willing participants, and protect species that choose independence from Imperial retaliation. You're making us obsolete. Admiral, we're making conquest obsolete. Leadership, organization, scientific advancement, cultural exchange, all of these can continue and flourish without domination and force. Zix Thera walked to her viewport and looked out at the human ships. For 3 days, they had remained perfectly still. Not threatening, not aggressive, just present. They represented power beyond anything she had ever imagined. But they were using that power to offer choice rather than demand submission. Captain Chen, she said finally, what happens if I agree to your proposal? What happens to me, to my crew, to the Third Fleet? You become the first Imperial force to voluntarily join the cooperative transition. Dr. Quinn-Ross begins learning human scientific techniques. Your engineers start upgrading Imperial technology with cooperative systems. Your crew discovers what it feels like to work with their equipment instead of just using it. My authority as Admiral changes but doesn't disappear. Instead of commanding through rank and fear, you lead through expertise and inspiration. People follow you because they respect your judgment, not because they're forced to obey. Dr. Quinn-Ross looked up from his data pad. Admiral, I recommend we accept their proposal. Why? Because the alternative is to fight a war we can't win against an enemy that doesn't want to fight. And because... He paused, looking embarrassed. Because I want to learn how their technology works.
We are
The
not
things they've shown us could
actually
advance our
not
understanding of the
affect
universe
any
by
other
centuries.
business, guy.
Commander
But
Veltar
do you-
appeared thoughtful.
does it have any
Admiral, our
other
orders were to
business
assess
that
human
actually get
capabilities and
effect
report
from
back to
this?
Imperial Command. I think we have our answer.
Yes or no?
Which is that humanity represents a fundamental change in galactic
Yeah,
civilization.
what all the
We can either
business?
adapt to that change or be left behind by it. Zixthera took a deep breath. In 30 years of
Yeah,
military
but
service, she had never made a
Are
decision this
they,
important.
how big they
Everything
are?
she chose
Are
now
they,
would
like,
affect not just her
having,
crew,
like,
but potentially the entire empire.
this is a little bit too
Captain Chen,
slow
she
to
said,
fix, bro.
The Third Fleet accepts your proposal.
Too
Chen's
slow.
smile was radiant. Welcome to the future, Admiral. As she
You
spoke,
fake your shit.
every human ship in the fleet
what
began
is
broadcasting the same
business
message on
using
all Imperial
coffee?
frequencies. A message of cooperation, of choice, of hope for something better.
All internet, so
And across the
people
galaxy,
cannot do
in
their
hundreds of
work?
Imperial systems, other admirals and commanders
What
began
else?
making the
What
same
else
choice.
is it?
The age of conquest was ending. The age of cooperation had begun. 6 months later, Admiral Zixthera stood on the observation deck of the research station that had once been her flagship.
Again.
Through the transparent aluminum walls, she could see ships from dozens of species working together to build something unprecedented. A truly cooperative interstellar civilization.
Let me pay this
Dr.
thing
Quinn Ross
first and I
approached,
come back
carrying
and
yet another
recheck.
data pad filled with new discoveries.
If I want.